Hi Hari, thank you for joining us today. You are a very familiar face at our film festival and we know about your works as well. But for those who don't know about your work, your career graph, could you explain a bit about it?
Actually, first of all, I'm so happy and I'm so honored to be here.
It's our pleasure, it's our pleasure.
Because, it's kind of my motherland is recognizing my work. It's kind of little more special for person who born and raised in this country. You know, it's a little bit close to my heart. Apart from international film festivals, my country is even more special.
Very true.
And actually, I'm a type of person. I've started my career as a film lover first of all. So I used to watch films when I was studying 12th, around 14 or 13 at the age. And it got serious down the lane when I get into the real cinema,
Right.
like the European films, the French films, the French New Wave, the American New Wave. So that films opened a very big gate. So
True.
that made me to realize that you have to learn more. You know, it's like a sea. You know, there are millions of films out there. So you have to learn by the down the lane. You have to not only learn the art, you have to experience it by as a human being also. See, if you love cinema in a very genuine, in a deepest way, it will eventually turn your basic human emotions itself. As a man, as a human being itself, you will start to evolve. You know, because sometimes you will be in a wild, in a very crazy way. But certain films will tame us. You know, we have to be like that. So it also, cinema also teaches discipline. So that is how cinema is to me. It is so much personal to me. So that's how that particular moment changed my life. So and finally I ended up as a filmmaker. So I just, that eagerness couldn't, I can't overcome that eagerness. So I just came out of my comfort zone and I just want to make my own film. And to make that film, I always believe and always take my mentor as Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick is one of my, I call him as my godfather because he's the one who taught me everything. So again, he's the one gave me the confidence to make this film. It is not an exaggerating thing, but this is the true thing because he made his first film, Fear and Desire, at the age of 21 in 1952. The year that I have ever existed,
Yes.
So a man is pulling off a film in 1950s in a 16mm cameras without any technical supporting that we are having right now today.
Right.
He pulled off many masterpieces. So each and every film of his guided my way. So that film gave me a confidence to make my own independent film. Likewise, Tarantino also, he made his first film at the age of 24, but the film was never reached the theaters because it got burned in the lab itself because of some accidents.
Right.
But he never quit. He just keep on fighting and he made a film, Reservoir Dogs, and it just washed
Changed everything.
He just redefined cinema once again.
Absolutely.
So that two persons made a very
Lasting
very big
impact.
in my life. So that made me to boost a little bit confidence in myself, and that's how I ended up as a filmmaker, and this is how Fall from Grace happened.
Right, that's great. I like how you put it. Some films make you wild, some films tame you, and your biggest inspirations have been two revolutionary filmmakers as well. So obviously you don't believe in the kind of teaching or the learning that probably film schools give you. Do you believe I'm sure you haven't done any kind of institutionalized learning.
No.
So do you think that makes a difference, like, learning the art of filmmaking your own way? Do you think that makes a difference?
To be frank, to learn the film in your own way, you have to sacrifice many things.
Like what?
As a person itself, you have to be you have to be. I don't want to talk about everyone. What I'm just wanted to tell what I've gone through the experience. There are two kind of filmmakers out there. I'm not here to criticize anything, but there are two types of filmmakers out there. They want to make a film. It have to make a market, and it have to reach the wider audience. You have to get the collections on box office. And there is another type of filmmakers out there. They don't want these kind of things. They just want the genuine connect between the audience. If that the audience is around 2 or 3 people, it's fine for me. If that's 2, 3 or people like my film, and that will lift off all the pain I endured throughout making this film. That two or three words from them make my pain go away. So and of course there is a difference between studying cinema on your own and studying cinema in an institution. But everything you can in an institution you might have learned many things. They teach you how to be in a set, how to operate certain kind of equipment. So those kind of technicalities also involved in those kind of studies. But even though when you're finished your studying, you have to come back to the field. You have to work as an assistant director, and that time you feel a very different kind of world around you. The things that you have learned in the institution, some might will work in some situations and some might not work. So I have not studied in the institution, so I don't know how I can't comment on them. But there is a difference, because once in an interview Paul Thomas Anderson said that he was earning all his money and he went to a film school. And there the first class was starting, and the professor said, if you want to make a Terminator 2, just get out of the room. He said to the students like that. And Paul Thomas Anderson felt that this is not the right way. Somewhere around the corner there is a student who want to make Terminator 2.
Absolutely.
So you can't make him to vision his own vision. So that point, the next day itself, Paul Thomas Anderson quit the film school. So I'm not, this is not a good way. I'm not talking about this is good, this is bad. I'm not talking about that. But even both the things, there are advantages and there are also disadvantages. End of the day, as a person, it's only you how much you love cinema. End of the day, your own passion only stands alone, because you have to face the world alone. No one is going to I've studied in American Institute. Nothing will help you out there. If you want to make a film, you have to go on set. You have to stand on the set. The institution, no other name will stand there. You have to stand. You have to make the actors align on the set. You have to take all the pressure.
It's just you and your caliber.
You have to face everything. To the schedule, everything. The day, the production, the food, the camera. Sometimes we'll expect to go in a scene with a very particular lens. Sometimes you will never get that kind of lens on that particular day. So you have to change the whole sequence according to that. So these kind of things you have to learn individually by working and working and working. Trial and error process is the best thing to crack the art, I think.
Absolutely, how nice. Hari, from the way you talk, it's very clear that you have gone through a number of challenges, up till this day. You are sitting here as a successful filmmaker. What were the biggest of challenges that you had faced, if you care to share it with us? Personally, no, not just for this film.
Personally, for in general, I'm at the age of 26. But to be frank, I've sacrificed many things in life.
You were talking about sacrifices before
the
as
relationship
well.
Also, because at some while studying in college, many my friends will start to date girls and they roam around.
It's important at that age, right?
But at that moment, one thing was so particular to me, that is cinema. So we can't explain that to the person that we are meeting. They can understand for a certain amount of time, and they will count. You can buy everything, but you can't pressure others to endure the same pain.
Right.
So that kind of emotion, you know, that will also affect the artistic thing that you're thinking. It will affect. If you, you know, like how Andrei Tarkovsky said, cinema is vice versa. You should never expect anything from cinema. The cinema will take everything from you. You are just a tool to that.
Okay.
So it's, you know, I'm a type of person who I look up to that kind of person. So I always wanted to treat my own cinema in that way. So if someone, you know, a little bit of mocking itself, I can't endure it.
Okay.
Because my cinema is so much personal to me, because the anger between that kind of outburst is because I've lost many things in life and I'm standing here. You're not here to play with me.
Okay.
I'm so serious here.
Right.
So because you might have think that this is a fun place to be late or whatever, due to various practical difficulties. But instead, you know, at my inner point, I have that I've lost everything and I came to this point. So that make a very big difference.
Right.
And that will raise an invisible wall around you. So everyone will start interacting with you. You know, the interactiveness will start reducing. They will just
they will have their own set of inhibitions.
They just they don't want to talk with you after the scene or whatever it is. Only for professional they will act with you, and after that they will because they don't know you about. They just know me as a person only on the set. Other than that, you know, because there is so much thing happening in my life to came here. So that makes a very big traumatic situations also. So those kind of.
All right. Just out of curiosity, Hari, do you think that that plays out in a beneficial manner for you? Because when you're on set, everyone treats you in a very professional way, and you know, no one is going to intrude into your personal space. Do you find that beneficial for your kind of filmmaking? Or do you
it is a very positive thing on set, because I've never came there on a particular set or whatever while making film. I am on a very serious mode.
Right.
I was available at that moment only to make the film.
Right.
Apart from that, no other jokes, there is no space to do that, you know, because that will personally affect me.
Right.
Even though if your scene is completed, if you giggle at my back, I will get anger.
You must be a very serious filmmaker on set.
Yeah, that kind of.
Okay.
So because to play as a director, you have to be alert on every 360 degree. You know, that will makes you cautious each and every second. You might think that he is working on that scene, but no, my ear will listening to all around who are talking about me, who's talking about the scene, who is mocking about me, who's talking about the lens. They might see he don't know how to put a frame, but I will hear it.
Okay.
So those kind of things will always, I think a good filmmaker must have that kind of you know, security system around him. You know, that will eventually help him in throughout the process, not only after shooting the scene. It will make him to learn how the actors behave with you, how the technicians behave with you.
Right.
Will they are sincere to you, sincere with your vision? They are just goofing around there. You can easily find out with their discipline in the set itself. So those kind of things will, you know, it's kind of a detective kind of work, you know. So that's
right. That's interesting. All right, Hari. So let's talk a bit about the film that we screened here, the film that garnered a lot of appreciation, Fall from Grace. It's a very interesting subject. It's a very unique subject. Can you just tell us how you arrived at this particular subject? I mean, what made you take up this particular theme? You know, what led you there?
What triggered me?
Yeah, exactly. If trigger is the right word to use, what triggered you to use?
I think
make that.
You know, you can never define the art. You know, that's how the idea also. You can never define how this idea got in my mind. You can never define that. At some point while you're bathing in a restroom, all of a sudden you got a spark. So that is the beauty of writing. The crux will be out somewhere around. you'll be doing nothing, you'll be just sitting simply in the room, but all of a sudden you get a spark.
Yeah.
So, and that spark will make you to work, you know, day and night. So, for this film, you know, I think for years back I watched Bresson's Diary of a Country Priest. It's a story about a male priest. But I thought the story is going to end up in this kind of way. But the story was drastically changed into some. What I expected was not in that film. It was so heavy. It was so depressing. It was so artistic in its own way. You know, that particular thing excited me. How a filmmaker can portray a character of a priest in a very disturbing way. That make me, that particular, each and every time while the protagonist on this, while seeing the protagonist, I feel some kind of heaviness inside me.
Right, right.
I felt that how this filmmaker is doing that. Eventually he's Bresson, he will do that. But the questions start to you know, stick with me. It was around college years back. But somehow that spark triggered this idea. What happens if I switch that male into a female?
Yeah.
Comparatively, the world, everyone will sympathize more for women.
Yeah.
Because of the gender. Because it's not like that women are so soft. You know, my point of view, women is totally different. Women are so bold and women are so courageous. Absolutely. They can break you at any time. That is my personal. Because I've experienced those kind of things. If you know, if a woman don't like certain things, they will never turn back. They just walk out. If they like, they will react in a very different way. But if they don't, if they never want, if they decided they should leave right at that moment, they will leave. Even if you beg in her legs, you know, that will never happen. She just leave. Because those kind of powerfulness women have those kind of powerfulness. You know, they can break, particularly they can break male at any point, emotionally and physically. So they are always a supreme power of nature. So that particular point excites me. So I just want to change this. I want to make this character as a female protagonist. And as a writer, it was so challenging for me because I am a male. I have to write in a female perspective.
Right.
I have certain experience with my mom, my sister, those kind of women. But apart from the more experience I got from films.
Right.
And with the thesis and articles, the psychologies of film, women. So, and as a writer, it triggered me, and it was so challenging for me to write a script in a female point of view.
Yeah, right.
So it was so challenging, and you know, that's how Fall from Grace starts.
Happened. Okay. You were talking about how you being a male had probably a few challenges writing from a female's perspective. Once the film got released, once it reached a wider audience, did you have any experience where one of the females or one of the, you know, you got a feedback from, let's say, a woman or a lady, you know, coming up to you and saying that this perspective is right, or maybe even the other way around as well, okay, maybe, you know, one of them would have come up to you and said that, okay, this is probably not the right way, you know, our perspectives work. Did you have any kind of that experience?
That is the particular thing still very surprising for me because well, after the screening, you know, many female students reach me that no other male, only female students reach me, and they were so positive about the film.
Right.
And that, because I was the intention was not to make female as a grey or that kind of thing.
Right.
Intention is I just want to touch that particular emotion. That's it. Apart from that, I don't want to categorize or anything about male, female, gender. I don't, because as a human being,
is not your topic.
Human being is everyone. You know, at certain point, a human is behaving on a given situation. You know, it's not like that a woman would have reacted in this way, a male would. It's not like that.
Right.
If you have an anger, everyone will pick the chair and hit the person that made you anger.
Yeah, emotion doesn't have a gender.
So it was you know, a very positive response with especially with the female persons.
And how did you feel it? How did you feel about that? Did you feel accomplished because it's probably it was probably a challenge for you to have written from a female's perspective. How did you take it? How was your personal feeling?
Actually, it was so relief for me, because while writing, it took around 2.5 years to finish the script itself.
Okay.
So everything, the decision, the reaction, I will while writing some particular scene, I might have think that okay, this scene will work for this moment. You will have some calculation in your mind. Okay, this dialogue will excite the audience. This particular transition will excite the audience. While the music kicks in, audience get excited. Those kind of decisions only happened in my mind. So it takes around 3 years to see, with my own eyes. So so it's a very special thing. So that particular thoughts in my mind was happening in front of me.
So it was very accomplishing.
Yeah.
Great. Let's talk a bit about the theme that you have dealt with in the film. Let's just put it very, very openly. It's a very controversial theme. It's a very, let's say, there is a chance of being it called as blasphemous even, So when you were making the film, in the process of the filmmaking, did you have any people around you saying that probably you shouldn't be taking up this topic? How did you face that? How did you deal with that?
Out of 10, I think all the 10 was saying to me that don't make this film as your first film. Because my personally, I have few members, few people, few friends that I can blankly believe, and I will narrate or discuss about the story, and they really care for me. Those particular 2 persons. So they said that no, you don't have to do this film. It will get a very big. It will provoke some controversy. But one point in my mind is, I am not here to make controversy. If I want to make controversy, then I should fear. But deep inside, I never wanted to create any controversy. I just want to show this kind of story to the audience. That's it. That's why the film was ended in a very abstract way. The ending is given to the audience. You have to take. If you have a broad mind, if you have the clarity between religion, women, sex, you will pick your own decision. If you have a very narrowed down mind, it's not my mistake. You have to learn something that it's up to your wish. But I believe that I've not done anything shown or spoken anything bad or the intention is not to create controversy. That is the main thing.
Were you scared though? Were you scared that, or were you apprehensive about the reaction once the film was done? I mean, you had all the people around you telling you not to make the film. Obviously, you followed your gut feeling, you followed your instincts, and you followed your dream. But at any point, even after the film was done, maybe before it got released or before it received a popular feedback, were you scared at any point of time?
Sure.
How did you deal with that? What was your biggest fear?
Actually, after finishing the whole film, I've done a very few minimal screening with a very personal surrounds. But the reaction was unanimously negative.
Okay.
So they don't like the film.
Right.
And they felt that it was too much. You're showing too much, you're talking too much. This, you have to try to edit in a very
make it subtle.
You have to change the editorial, you have to cut the scenes. Many things happen. And that particular, it's not fear. That particular situation made me put me in a dilemma where I felt still right inside my heart. Even if you're getting offended, deep inside I'm not getting offended in anything while writing or making it anything. I never get any negative about the film. So that was a very difficult phase. Everyone, you have a very big vision. like Tarantino said, once while making his first feature, he was thinking that okay, next I'm going to be the critical darling in the festival circuit. I'm going to rule the I'm going to rule the festival world. I'm going to go to the Cannes, Venice, everything. But finally, his film ended up in a lab with just 2 minutes of footage he got in the fire accident.
Yeah.
I personally believe that what would the mindset of Tarantino have that in that particular
how
time?
Would he have
how he might have come out from that situation? Again, those kind of people gave me again the confidence. So, okay, he might also gone into a very dark phase, but now he's one of the most celebrated director, the most legendary director in the world, still existing. So that again, that particular the masters again pull me back.
Again, he
I'm
became
here,
your inspiration.
you come here. So that kind of thing revived me back.
That's fantastic, Hari. Last question. You already dealt with a very controversial topic in your first film. Do you have anything further? Like, do you have anything else in your pipeline? Do you plan to deal with another particular subject? Do you have something like that in your mind for your next film?
Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts about, but again, it's not. But for people, it might feel that it's a controversy. But again, down the lane, as a writer, inside me, he feels that this is right. So I have those many couple of lines, but I don't think it. I don't know. For me, it's not a controversy, but maybe.
Absolutely. I think we'll have to wait and watch, right?
Sure, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Hari. We hope to see you as the next Tarantino, or maybe the Tarantino of Indian cinema, because you're so inspired by the kind of filmmaking that he does, the kind of thoughts that he has, the kind of mindset that he maintains. So we hope to see you reach greater heights. Thank you so much, Hari. Thank you so much for joining us.